Good morning, everybody. You're going to go ahead and make your way to a child's pose for your gentle flow and stretch, just to warm up and kind of settle in, ground down. So for your child's pose, bring your big toes to touch. Bring your knees out to the side edges of your mat. And then sink your hips back towards your heels and reach your arms forward. Let your forehead soften down to the earth. It's okay if it doesn't reach all the way down to the ground, okay? It's all good. Relax your shoulders back and down from your ears. And you might feel your rib cage pressing into the tops of your thighs, but you might also feel the belly and the ribs kind of just spilling down towards the mat. So I want you to find what feels good to you. If you notice that that's more sensation than what you feel like bringing into the hips and the knees, you could slide a towel between your hips and your heels. You could also come into all fours on your hands and knees and just be in box pose for a moment. I'm going to go ahead and start my music. You can if you want. You do you with all of that, right? And then when you're in this space right here, this initial child's pose, you could go ahead and close down your eyes because you don't need to look around anywhere at all. And then as you breathe in, you know that you're breathing in. And as you breathe out, you know that you're breathing out. If you would like some movement here, you could begin to roll your forehead from side to side. Get that little massage across your forehead. Go all the way to each temple, the side of your head. And honor what's showing up in your cervical spine and the shoulders and your traps. And as you're here, I invite you to set an intention for your practice today. And maybe it's an intention for your whole day, right? Not just this 60 minutes, but the rest of your day. I'm going to offer one up for you just in case. And it's one to honor where you are at in your space, in your life, in your moment. And to know that it is perfect. You are perfect. And that in life, a lot of times, we are faced with challenges and obstacles that cause us to start to doubt that, right? Like, what did I do wrong? How did I mess this up here? And these are all just ways to redirect. Right? Always to bring us back to that realization that all is well, even if all the things happening around us indicate that they are not. All is well. On your next inhale, if you're rolling your forehead side to side, come back to center. And walk your hands forward. On your exhale, slide your hands over to the left. Thumb next to thumb. And then really stretch through the right side of your body. Now, if that honestly just fits like a glove and you need a little bit more, you could take your right hand on top of the left and keep pulling your right shoulder away from your right hip. Good. And then on your inhale, you come back through center. And as you exhale, walk your hands all the way over to the right. Now I want you to start off just thumb next to thumb. So you don't go all in, right? You ease in. Because there's no reason to go all the way only to realize that you went too far, right? And then if you actually need it, then you take your left hand on top of the right hand. So teaching ourselves to find that sweet spot where we're doing the work, we're doing what we need to do, but we're not, for lack of a better word, wasting the energy, right? Just find your sweet spot, just enough, just right. And then as you inhale, slide yourself back through center, and then on the exhale, press up into your box pose. Your hands and your knees. Stack your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists. Bring your knees underneath your hips. Now spread your fingers wide, and as you inhale, let a soft belly drop down towards the ground to lift your chin, lift your tail. And then on the exhale, navel to your spine, dome out your upper back, tuck your chin towards your chest. And then you inhale, the belly down. Your heart will press between your upper arm bones and find a sway to your low back. And then you exhale, keep your arms long and strong, tuck your chin and separate your shoulder blades. Inhale the belly down. And exhale the belly up. On your inhale, you'll come into a neutral spine. And then you choose, would you like to kind of sway your hips from side to side? Or would you like to come into full-on hip circles, body waves, right? So just honor whatever's showing up in your body. But if you've got some stuff that's stuck inside, I invite you to go big with this. Get dynamic and create space for all the stickiness and whatever heaviness resides within for it to find its way out. Right? It's the beauty of body movement, y'all. And you'll come back into your neutral spine, your box pose. On your inhale, extend your right leg back. So all I want you to do is focus on your balance here, right? Dial your right pinky toe down. Pull your belly in and up. You can stay right here, y'all. It's all good. If you just need a little bit more balance, reach your left arm forward like you're trying to shake someone's hand. We're just warming up the core enough. Press your right heel back. Maybe you reach your left hand forward. If you're struggling with balance today, I want you to bring your left hand right back down to the ground. On your exhale, bring your knee in towards your chin, your chest, your nose, or knee to your elbow just underneath your belly. Just doing that one time. As you inhale, re-extend. On the exhale, bend your right knee. I do want you to stack your hip this time. So a lot of the time we do this with the thigh bone pointing down. And then maybe if you want, you could reach your left hand back and catch your right foot. And then allow that to aid you in opening your right hip. Now, if your preference is just to turn your right hip back down, feel free to do that. You're going to feel more in the shoulder, right? It's all good. And then you inhale, release. Exhale, box pose. Inhale, let your belly soften down to the ground. Find a cow pose. And then exhale, navel draws in and up. Cat pose. Just one reset. Inhale, neutral spine. Exhale, press your left leg back. So 3-point balance to start. Pull your belly up and navel to your spine. And then as you are ready, only if you need it, the right arm reaches forward. So as you inhale, the left heel presses back, the right fingertips reach. On the exhale, you might just be tucking the left knee in towards your chest or taking knee to elbow. The choice is yours. Inhale, we re-extend. Exhale, bend your left knee, stack your hip, yawn it open unless your preference is for your thigh to point down towards the ground. I'm kind of looking more towards the hip stretch rather than the back bend, the shoulder stretch. So whatever you need today, take it. Now re-extend as you inhale. Box pose as you exhale. Cow pose with your inhale. Cat pose with your exhale. Neutral spine to your inhale. Tuck-toe child's pose as you exhale. Stretch out your feet. Hips to your heels and walk your arms forward. Let your forehead come down. You're not here for a very long time, just long enough to kind of stretch out the fascia on the soles of your feet. For my walkers, my bikers, stretch those toes. And then on your inhale, shift back onto all fours. Your toes are already curled up underneath you. And then exhale, lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Let the crown of your head hang down. Navel draws in and up towards your spine. Heels feel heavy whether they actually touch the earth or not, right? We're not worried about that. Let your chest pressing towards your thighs, your navel draw in and up, and maybe you walk your dog, alternating your lifted heel. Now if this feels too wobbly or the legs are not feeling firm underneath you today, just stay on your knees for a moment. We're all going to meet in a dangling forward fold, so just take your time. We're all in downward facing dog. Inhale, bend your knees forward. Exhale, step your feet to your hands, but leave your feet about hip width or wider apart. On the inhale, slide your fingertips to your shins, your crown forward, your tail back, tabletop your back, navel up. And then exhale, take your chest to your thighs, a deep bend to your knees, and grab onto opposite elbows, and maybe you sway side to side. Good, y'all. Your knees can be as bent as you need them to be, as bent as you want them to be. The crown of your head hangs down. You just find that sway like nothing else matters. And then you'll come back to center. Let your hands come down to the ground. Completely exhale. On the inhale, heel toe your feet slowly back together and bend your knees, sit your hips low for your chair pose, arms up overhead. So this is just to warm up the legs enough, right? So you don't have to sit super low. You don't have to make it really challenging. But on the inhale, reach your fingertips up, bend your knees. On the exhale, open arm twist to the right. Take your left fingertips forward, your right fingertips back. Relax your shoulders back and down so you have a long neck. And then as you inhale, come right back to front and center. Reach your arms high. On the exhale, open arm twist to the left. Right fingertips forward, left fingertips back. And then you'll inhale right back to front and center. On the exhale, straighten your legs and take your elbows back and down and find your cactus arms. Lift your chest. Inhale, reach your arms back up overhead. Exhale, sit your hips back and down to your chair pose. Inhale, reach your fingertips higher. Exhale, open arm twist to the right. Inhale, right back to your chair pose. Exhale, open arm twist to the left. Inhale, front and center, arms high. Exhale, straighten your legs, elbows back and down, lift your chest. Last round. Inhale, palms meet overhead. Exhale, sit yourself back and down. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, open arm twist to the right. Inhale, swim your arms back front and center. Exhale, open arm twist to the left. Inhale, right back to the front. Exhale, straighten your legs, elbows back and down. This time as you inhale, let your hands find one another at the small of your back. You could also grab onto opposite elbows if that feels better. Inhale, roll your shoulders back, lift your chest. On the exhale, bend your knees, chest to your thighs. The crown of your head reaches down, fist up and over. And then take your hands down to the ground. Inhale to your halfway lift. So that's like as dynamic as it gets. From here we stretch. On the exhale, step your left foot to the back of your mat and soften your left knee down to the ground. Good, y'all. Now on the inhale, pull your right knee forward so that it stacks over your heel or your ankle. Your chest reaches forward. On the exhale, your left hand stays down. Right arm reaches up to the sky. Think of stacking your shoulders. Watch your right knee, your shin, your ankle, and take your gaze to your right hand. And I just want you to breathe here. Roll your left shoulder down. Pull the pit of your belly in and up so you're not dumping down into your low back. You're supported. Good, y'all. Take one more inhale. And then your right hand comes down. Shift your hips back and straighten your right leg. Flex your right toes towards your shin as you exhale. On your inhale, your legs stay the same, but lift your chest, pull your heart forward. And then as you exhale, navel to your right thigh bone. Let your right hip draw back, left hip forward. This is your half split. Now notice what happens with your feet. So if your right foot is pointing forward, it's okay. You're stretching the top of your right foot, but you're contracting the back side of your leg. With your toes flexing back towards your shin, you're stretching the back side of your right leg, right? On your inhale, walk this back forward. Bend your right knee. Left hand comes to the ground. Exhale, right arm reaches up to the sky. Gaze to your right fingertips. Now maybe if your cervical spine can support this, your left eye finds your right hand, right? Then breathe. Notice what happens with your right leg as you're breathing here. No sensation in the low back. It's just here. Your belly is pulled in and up. And you can also feel the stretch in the front of your left hip. Take one more inhale. On the exhale, let your right hand come down. And then shift your hips back and straighten your right leg. All right, y'all. So from here, I'm going to lift up the pant leg a little bit so you can see. Roll your shoulders back and down. Good. Pull your heart forward. You got it. And then from here, you might turn your right pinky toe down towards the ground for a moment. Get into your IT band, right? I'm going to have you move your foot over in a moment anyway. But for right now, just kind of feel that out. That rotation in your right thigh bone. Good. Now right here, inhale, lift your chest, pull your heart forward. On the exhale, take your right big toe towards the ground and try to flatten out your right foot. So you're taking the outer edge of your right foot towards the top of your mat. Now pull your right hip back so that you stay level and squared and really stretch out your right ankle. Good, y'all. Breathe. So your outer edge could go up to parallel with the short edge, the top of your mat. Doesn't have to. Now on your inhale, rotate your toes back to the sky. And then lift your right heel and drop it in front of your left knee. Now pull your right hip back again. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, take your right pinky toe down to the ground again. So it's a little bit deeper this time because now you have this diagonal line from your right hip to your thigh bone, to your knee, to your shin, your ankle. Good, go. Inhale, take your toes back up to the sky. Slide your right foot back in front of your right hip. And then walk yourself back forward. Now your left hand comes down and your right arm reaches up to the sky as you exhale. Stay right here. Inhale to reach a little bit more. And then as you exhale, half bind if you want to go there. Your right forearm wraps around the small of your back. Your fingertips look for your left hip crease. And then you roll your right shoulder open, your chest open, all without splaying your right knee open. Gaze high. Good. Now you could stay right here. If you want to reach back and bend your left knee, catch your left ankle with your right hand, you can. At this point, you could also roll to the outer edge of your right foot, open up your right hip. You could come down to your left forearm if you need more. Make sure you're breathing, and anything you do with your body, your breath supports it, and you don't have to grimace to get there. Good. Belly pulls in and up. And then it's a really soft release of your left foot down. As your right hand comes back down to the earth, stack your shoulders back over your wrists and pull your right foot back to the center of your mat. Now inhale, curl up your left toes, lift your left knee, and it's a big step forward. Exhale, forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale, take a halfway lift. Exhale, chest to your thighs. Bend your knees if you need to. And then inhale, halfway lift. Fingertips to your shins, tabletop your back. Exhale, bring your hands down and step your right foot to the back of your mat and soften your right knee to the earth. Good. All right, so from here, now it's your left knee, creates a 90-degree bend, right? So your knee stacks over your heel or your ankle. Good. Right hand stays rooted down to the ground. Take an inhale. Exhale, left arm reaches up to the sky. Gaze follows your left hand. Be here for a moment. So it's the first one on your left side. Pull your belly in and up. Try to stack your shoulders. Breathe. Take an inhale, reach a little bit higher with your left hand. And then on the exhale, your left hand comes down, you shift your hips back and straighten your left leg. Again, know what you're doing just so that you know what you're doing. Flexing the left toes back towards the shin to stretch your hamstring for your half split is where I'm going. It's kind of my intention. But if you're like, I just really need to roll out this ankle and do some other stuff, that's cool, right? Lift your chest, pull your heart forward as you inhale. You can bend your left knee a lot if you need to. And then melt your chest to your thigh as you exhale, let that go. On your next inhale, walk yourself forward. The right hand stays down, the left arm reaches as you exhale. Keep your left knee stacking over your heel or your ankle. Now maybe your gaze follows your left hand. Could you take your right eyeball to your left hand? It's a lot going on in the thoracic spine, in the cervical spine. Good, y'all. Belly's in, faces are soft, and your breath is deep and even. Take an inhale. And then your left hand comes down, shift your hips back again, straighten your left leg as you exhale. Now I'm going to have you stay right here. Your hips are over your right knee. Take an inhale so that you lift your chest and you create space in your spine. Pull your low belly in and up. And then just roll your left foot to your toes to the left for a second as you exhale. Stretch into your IT band, kind of move all of that stuff around. All right, and then bring your toes back up towards the sky. Now pull your left hip back. Take an inhale. On the exhale, rotate your left big toe towards the ground and then try to flatten your left foot out, right? So your left hip is going to pull forward a lot, right? You can probably see mine. Try to pull your left hip back because that's actually where you're going to get your stretch. And then it's okay if your foot is nowhere close to parallel with the top of your mat, because I will be honest, especially on this left side, it used to be. But once I injured my left knee, I can't get anywhere close to that now. And I don't push it or pull it. All I want right now is to open up through the outside of my left leg. And it doesn't have to look a certain way for that to happen, okay? I know sometimes we get really caught up with how things look, but I want you to not worry about it. It's how it feels. It's how it feels. And lift your left toes back up. Yeah. And then slide your left heel in front of your right knee, but pull your left hip back. Take an inhale, belly's in and up. On the exhale, dial your left pinky toe down to the ground. So it's going to be much more intense than whenever your left leg was right in front of your left hip. Because now you've created this diagonal space. Oh. So just be humbled, okay? It's all good. Be humbled. Good, y'all. And let your toes point back up to the sky. Slide your left heel in front of your left hip. Now walk yourself forward. It's your last time. This is your inhale. Now your left arm reaches up to your sky as you exhale. Open up your chest. Inhale, reach your left fingertips higher. Maybe as you exhale, left forearm around the small of your back. Open up the left shoulder. Gaze towards the ceiling. Breathe. The choice is yours to bend your right knee. You don't even have to catch your hand to your foot, right? You could just bend the knee. It's going to get you plenty. If you want the extra, you reach your left hand back and you catch your right ankle. You could come down to your right forearm if you want to with control. And breathe. So on this side, I'm feeling like super tight. Yeah? So be cool. Be good to your body. If you want full-on cricket monkey, roll to the outer edge of your left foot. And it's a soft release of your right foot. Let your hands come down to the ground. Frame your left foot. And then this time, curl up your back toes, lift your back knee, and then step your left foot to the back of your mat to meet the right and come down to your knees. Take an inhale, and then all the way down to your belly as you exhale. Let your forehead come down. Relax your shoulders back and down. And then slide your hands underneath your, let's say like to the outside of your chest, right? Toenails are down, all 10. Take the top of your pubic bone and draw it up towards your navel so that you lengthen your low back. Pull your navel towards your spine, and then as you inhale, roll your shoulders back. Peel your chest up and off of the earth. So I want you to actually use your spinal muscles here, but your gaze is just neutral down towards your mat. So no cranking your head up and looking forward. I want you to think no creases in the back of your neck. Take another inhale, and then soften yourself down as you exhale, release. And then we've got one more just like that. Roll your shoulders back and down. On the inhale, lift your chest. And then maybe you float your hands with your exhale. Belly pulls in and out. Good, guys. Take one more inhale. And then melt yourself back down as you exhale. Take your right ear to the ground, bend your knees, and then windshield wiper your feet from side to side. Release out of your low back. And then your feet come back down to the ground. Roll your shoulders back and down. Now take your right forearm to the ground and then your left. And ideally your arms are going to look like a number 11, okay? So your elbows are underneath your shoulders and your wrists are directly in front of your elbows. So this is Sphinx pose. Now if you feel this at all in your low back, take the top of your pubic bone, draw it up towards your navel, and make sure that your navel is drawing in and up towards your spine, right? So this is front body stretching, back body strengthening. Your elbows are kind of pulling towards your hips. Your gaze is still neutral just towards the top of your mat, so you're not looking completely forward here. Roll your shoulders back, peel your chest up, and then find some traction here. Breathe. Notice if you're over gripping your glutes and kind of release a little bit. They're going to engage to some degree. I don't want them to just be completely there, but I don't want you to over squeeze and Jane Fonda your way through this, right? Okay, one more inhale. And then splay your elbows out to the side and let your left ear come down to the mat as you exhale. Release, shake out your hips a little bit side to side. You can windshield wiper your feet if you need to. And then your feet come back down to the ground. Roll your shoulders back. We're coming right back into Sphinx. So forearms, hands down to the ground. Elongate your front side body, right? Now, tick-tock your left hand in slightly, right? So you're creating a diagonal line with your left forearm now. And then bend your right knee. Now, if you're not into it, and so some of you actually should just lay back down or stay in Sphinx pose, right? Because you can also do this with your belly down, bend your right knee and reach your right hand back with your chest down and everything so that there's no back bend at all to this, right? And just stretch your right quad. If you want to take the Sphinx variation, your left forearm stays down. Remember to elongate, stretch the front side of your body, stay lifted, bend your right knee and reach your right hand back and catch your right ankle. If you're going to go for the full extension, you flip your grip and point your right elbow up and take your right heel towards your right outer hip or outer thigh. But it's totally fine to just hold your ankle, right? But breathe. There should be no pain in your low back, right? So if you feel pinching in your lumbar spine here, it's preferable to just come down, bend your knee, And catch your right ankle. And breathe. Now it's a very soft release of your right foot. As it lands, it makes no noise. If you're in the back bend variation, bring your right forearm back down to the ground. Tick-tock your hands to where they make their number 11. If you need to release, feel free, right? Like take a counter. If you're with your chest down, just switch sides, bend your left knee, catch your left ankle. If you're taking the Sphinx variation, tick-tock your right arm in. So now you've got that diagonal with your right forearm. Bend your left knee, and then reach back and catch your left ankle with your left hand. So my belly is pulled in and up to support my lumbar spine, and my pubic bone is pulling up towards my navel. Because I do have a short torso, it's very easy for me to compress my low back. And then if you want to go to the full extension, your left shoulder rolls in. Is that loud on your quad? So breathe. It's all good. Be here. As you breathe in, you know that you're breathing in. And as you breathe out, you know that you're breathing out. It's all good, y'all. One more inhale right where you are. Now your left foot lands lightly. There's no thudding or catapulting back to the floor. And then everybody, take your forehead down to the ground. Release out of what you're doing. Let your neck be completely neutral. Slide your hands down by your hips with your palms facing down. And just rest here for a moment. Now if you feel like you need to do anything to reset your low back, I kind of curl my tailbone, you can do your tailbone too, but like I curl my pubic bone up towards my navel so that it lifts my low back, and I kind of roll side to side. Now bring your hands underneath your shoulders, roll your shoulders back and down. On the inhale, press up through your box pose. Now this time your child's pose is different. Bring your inner thighs to touch. So this is traditional child's pose. And now rest your chest on top of your thighs and walk your hands forward. Let your forehead come down. So I find that this is a little bit better for me personally after doing any kind of opening up of the spine, like back bending, like what we just did. Because my entire sternum and my torso rest on top of my thighs. And so it's a counter for all of that other movement that we just did with the spine. You can take your hands down by your feet if you choose and let your shoulders round forward for a moment. When you're ready, bring your hands back down to the ground. Inhale to press up into your box pose. Now, I'll give you a couple of options. Some of you will just stay in your box pose and reach your right arm up as you inhale and thread the needle underneath your left arm as you exhale, coming down to the right shoulder, the right ear, the right temple. If you need a little bit more, you could take your left leg out to the side body and let your right fingertips reach towards your left toes. If that's going to throw off your balance, then just keep your knees in box pose. Don't overthink it, don't overdo it. Then take your left arm forward, or it can stay right there in front of your face. It's all good. Or maybe you take a half bind, internally rotating your left upper arm bone. Oh, that feels great. And sliding your left forearm around the small of your back. Good, y'all. Breathe it out. Whatever your left arm chose to do, release and let your left hand come back in front of your face. And then slide your right hand back down to the ground. So unraveling, bring your left knee back to your box pose if you went anywhere else. Now root your left palm down. So we're staying with the same side. The right arm is going to lift back up again. Take an inhale. A couple of circles in both directions right here. Get into your rotator cuff. Get into all that sticky stuff, right? It might be uncomfortable, y'all. You just got to breathe through it. There shouldn't be pain at this point. This is different from your working out. So this is your yoga, and I'm no physical therapist, so no pain. But it could be really uncomfortable. And then inhale, keep your left hand down. Reach your right arm up. And now on the exhale, externally rotate your right upper arm bone. Slide your right forearm around the small of your back. And then open your right shoulder up towards the sky. So it's the opposite of what we just did. And breathe. So I will be very honest. This piece right here, this is uncomfortable for me. So it's okay if you're like, I don't want to be doing this, right? But you're going to do it anyway. And then release your right hand back up to the sky. And let your right hand come down to the ground. Inhale, float your left arm up. Open your chest. Exhale, thread the needle of your left arm underneath the right. Let your left ear, your left temple come down to the ground. This is where you could take your right foot out to the side body if you want. Your left fingertips, your peace fingers could look for your right big toe, right? Now, your right arm can reach forward. It can wrap around the small of your back in a half bind. Some of you are going to have that opportunity to roll a little bit more towards the back of your skull. It's okay. We don't aim for that or make it a goal. It just one day happens or it doesn't, right? Breathe. And slowly release your right hand from wherever it went and bring it right back in front of your face. Root the right palm down so that you can take your left hand back to the ground and bring your right knee back under the hip if it went anywhere else. Now root your right palm, lift your left arm up to the sky again, and then circle out your left arm. I've been doing this a lot lately. I think it's important. And as I teach around, the Metroplex, yeah, that's exaggerating. As I teach around the studios I'm at now, I noticed that a lot of us, very limited with our range of motion, especially in the shoulders. I mean, the hips too, don't get me wrong. But I see how limited we are. And then inhale, lift your left arm. Internally rotate the upper arm bone, and then slide your left forearm around the small of your back. Your fingertips look for your right hip crease, and then you open your left shoulder up. Gaze to the ceiling if it feels okay, or just look to the left, right? It's all good. Breathe. On your inhale, unravel, let your left arm reach to the sky. On the exhale, your left hand comes down to the ground. Inhale to curl up your toes. Just as a reset, exhale, lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog and see how you feel this round. It's okay if the answer is, I feel the same as the first time, right? But maybe you feel a little bit more open. On your inhale, float your right leg up to the sky. And then as you exhale, bring your right knee to your right wrist and slide your left leg back. So coming into your half pigeon. Now, if half pigeon does not serve you, get on your back. Cross your right ankle over your left. If you notice that your right hip is lifted a lot, you could slide a block underneath it, right? Or a bolster or anything else that you have. And then roll your shoulders back, lift your chest and pull yourself forward, right? So you start off kind of like in this proud pigeon, but then as you exhale, bow yourself down. Let your forehead come down to the mat. Now you could reach your arms forward. You could take your arms back. If you feel comfortable closing your eyes, I invite you to do that. And just breathe in and breathe out. We've got about 20 more seconds here. If there's anything else that you like to do in your half pigeon, take your variations, y'all. It's all good. And take your hands back underneath your shoulders and lift your chest. So this right here is your inhale. Now you're going to roll to the right and let your left leg come forward as you exhale. Now extend your right leg long and take the sole of your left foot towards your right inner thigh. So Janu Shirshasana A with the right leg extended. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. And then exhale, fold down over your right leg. Relax your shoulders back and down. There's no pain in the left knee joint, so if you feel any pain in your knee, I want you to kind of release out of this. Or maybe you take your left foot and kind of make a bigger angle, right? So there's no pain in your knee. And then you inhale to stack your shoulders over your hips, only if you're into it. So some of y'all just need to stay right here. This is only 2 more seconds. Left hand behind your left hip, and then press your left hand down. Come onto your left knee, your left shin, your right leg goes straight, your right foot flat. Lift your hips, lift your chest. Take 1 more inhale. And then sit yourself down as you exhale. Cross your feet at the ankles. Hands to the ground. I actually don't care how you get here. Just get back to downward facing dog and take your time. If you were doing your reclined pigeon on your back, you're just going to go straight back there. You probably don't even need to come to down dog. Since I can't see you, I'm just going to say all the things. And then inhale, float your left leg up to the sky. On the exhale, bring your left knee to your left wrist. Slide your right leg back. You can go into your double pigeon, stacking your right shin on top of the left. Or into your reclined pigeon on your back, crossing your left ankle over your right knee. You choose. And then your left shin can be up to parallel to the top of your mat or anywhere in between, right? Find your sweet spot. Let your right hip feel heavy, like it's coming down towards the ground. Inhale to lift your chest, pull forward. And then exhale to melt yourself all the way down. You can take your arms forward out to the side body, down with the palms facing down. Breathe and just be here. You've got a full minute, y'all. Notice where you're starting to hold on the tension, or maybe brace yourself or grit. Can you soften there? Lean in a little bit. We've got about 20 more seconds. Alright, bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. Inhale to lift your chest. Roll to the left. And let your right leg come forward, but then you're going to switch sides, right? So the left leg extends long, and the sole of your right foot towards your left inner thigh. So Janu Shasana A, but left leg extended. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale to fold over your left leg. Relax your shoulders. Long, strong spine. Inhale, bring your shoulders back over your hips, only if you're into it. Right hand behind your right hip. Lift your hips, lift your chest, come onto your right knee, your right shin. Your left foot goes flat as you exhale. And then gently bring your hips back down. Both feet extend forward. Inhale, reach your arms out and up. You can bend your knees as much as you need to. Exhale, fold over your thighs. Paschimottanasana. So your deep-seated forward fold. Release out of the low back. Release your hamstring. And then one vertebra at a time. Shoulders back over your hips. You might have to scoot forward. And roll down onto your back. So you're going to come flat onto the earth. On your inhale, reach your arms up overhead. And then as you exhale, hug your knees in towards your chest. Now, we're going to do something here that is just a little bit different. We typically go into like Happy Baby at the beginning of a practice. I've kind of been building you up for a half Happy Baby at the end of your practice. So keep your right knee hugging in, but bring your left foot down to the floor. Relax your shoulders back and down. Take an inhale. On the exhale, maybe peace fingers on the right hand loop around your right big toe, or you grab the outer arch of your foot, right? It's all good. Bend your right knee a lot, and think of the right knee coming towards your underarm, your thigh going towards parallel to the ground. The sole of your right foot is facing the ceiling. If this is too much, release your foot and let your right hand just find your right hamstring and be there, y'all. It's all groovy, right? Some of you will find that your right knee, your right thigh, without the left hip lifting, will come all the way down to the ground. Breathe. I'll take one more inhale. We're not going to go into a supine pigeon, but do let your right ankle come to your left knee for a moment for figure 4 and just press your right knee away for a second as you exhale. Just a little counter. And then let your right foot come down to the ground. Your knee is bent and hug your left knee in. Relax your shoulders back and down. Take an inhale. Left peace fingers to your big toe or your hand grabs your outer arch as you exhale. Now I'm going to take my right hand to my right hip because my hip likes to lift. You don't have to do that though, right? Just kind of feel yourself out and then see what happens with your left foot. The sole of the foot goes towards the sky. The knee is moving towards your underarm. Your thigh is moving towards parallel to the ground. Some of you, the knee, the thigh will come all the way to touching, right? It's all good. You don't have to force it, just be there. One more inhale. And then cross your left ankle over your right knee and let your left palm press into your left inner thigh as you exhale. Slowly release. Bring your feet down to the ground about hip width distance apart. You could also take a cobbler's bridge from your butterfly legs. You're nice and open. Hands down next to the hips. And on the inhale, lift your hips up into the sky. Stay for 5. You could roll your arms underneath your shoulders. Your hands could kind of reach towards the heels, the ankles. Use your inner thighs, your quadriceps, your hamstrings for 2. One more inhale. And then soften yourself down as you exhale. Let the soles of your feet come together, the heels come in towards the sits bones, and let your knees hang comfortably open. So you're in your Supta Baddha Konasana, your butterfly pose. If what you need is spinal twisting after taking your bridge pose, please feel free to do so. Whatever countering you need after back bending is valid, right? Otherwise, if you feel pretty good, just bring the knees back together. Hug them in towards your chest. Since it's a gentle class, I'm going to offer waterfall, legs up the wall pose. You can just be right here. For those of you that do have a block, you can take a supported waterfall. Bring your feet back down to the ground like you're going to go into a bridge pose. Lift your hips so that you can slide your block underneath you. And then let your kind of sacrum just rest back down onto the block, right? Find your sweet spot. And then you lift your feet up. This feels great. And just stay here for 10 or longer, right? I mean, you do you. If you're closing out with anything else, make sure if you do something that has 2 sides that you take the second side as well. Relax your face, your brows, wiggle your jaw from side to side. If you're resting on a block, you could bring your feet back down to the ground first so that you can lift your hips. Slide the block out from underneath you. And if you're working on anything else, take your time to close down. When you're ready, hug your knees in towards your chest. Perhaps your forehead comes up towards your knees. You'll take an inhale. And then open up to your Shavasana as you exhale. Extend your legs forward. Let your feet hang comfortably open. Your arms come down by the side body. Palms face up. Relax the entire body from the crown of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes. Let the bottom side of your body be grounded and heavy and rooted. The top side is light, it's weightless, even floating. And stay here and rest. What you need is to stay here a little bit longer. Please just feel free to stay right where you are. If you are ready to exit the mat, begin to deepen your breath and wiggle your fingers and your toes. And take your arms up overhead into a full body stretch. Arch your low back, roll out your wrists and your ankles. And just take your time coming to a comfortable sit. So I can't see you anyway, right? And as we begin to close down this physical asana practice, you've taken your practice, your rest. And as you might be a little bit more receptive at this point, right? Something that has really resonated me with this week, I struggle a lot with this spirit of proving myself, proving my worth, proving everything, that I'm right. Like, I mean, it is a rabbit hole that runs deep with me. So I'm offering to myself to start to reject the spirit of proving. And just being and doing and walking and being me and doing me. Because I feel like that even in of itself is already all you need, right? It's going to get you where you need to go, and it's going to aid you in being your best you anyway. So if that resonates with any of you, feel free to take that. Reject the spirit of proving, because it's exhausting. And it usually doesn't happen anyway. If you're already having to prove yourself to somebody, that battle's already lost, right? So, you do you. Be okay with that, because it's perfect. Thank you for showing up this morning. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Namaste.